Hello! Of course we started fantastic by sending the stream to the entirely wrong stream. I was sending my stuff to the gaming channel, so that was kind of strange. I logged into my account, and then I was looking at my stream, and nothing was happening. Also, hello, Zaybok23. I'm assuming that is a Dutch word, maybe a non-Dutch word, but it looks awfully Dutch to me. So, hello, Zaybok. I hope you're having fun today. Yeah, so that was amusing. We had the wrong thing going on. I'm gonna try something different with the music that we've been doing. I've been doing background music for most of these streams. Like generally, I do them in gaming streams as well, right before I start playing games. And I've actually gotten some feedback, not on my streams in particular, but for some people that is actually really distracting. So I'm going to try to run Sans background music today. We're gonna see how that goes. If it turns out I become too monotonous and we need some stuff, or I need some stuff, maybe I'll just put it on for me, maybe I'll just put it on for everyone, but I think we can rock without it. We can see how it goes. Particularly because we are going to check out a thing that talks a lot today, at least I'm hoping it's going to talk. At which point, it's probably more important to hear the speech than random lo-fi tracks anyway. So yeah, let's just see how we do. Let's just see how we go. Let me quickly, because I did some changing with the sources the other week, and I want to make sure that we're not completely blasting our personal information all over the interwebs. Doesn't immediately look like it. No, we're just capturing particular... I am going to share my entire screen, I think, for this one, because I have no idea how to capture VMware. I'm assuming a window capture will work, but I also don't want to have to deal with the fact that it may or may not be full screen and resolution issues, and I just don't want to. So I'm going to just share my entire screen. Right, so we're gonna turn off that first and foremost, because that is pretty annoying. All right, so we're gonna disable that. Beautiful. All right, well, let me put a thing on the screen then. So we have, see, let me super quickly make sure that we can do that with impunity. Should be fine, but you never know. Discord is running. Let's close Discord. We will not be needing Discord for this demonstration. So, for the people who are new and who haven't been here before, I'm a fully blind streamer. I don't do monitors. I literally have no screen in front of me right now. That's just a blank wall I'm staring at. The camera is like against the wall. No screen, no nothing. And we're going to look at a Linux distribution. I'm assuming it's open source. It is, right? That has accessibility stuff built in. We're gonna have to see how it goes. You're not wrong, and I just closed... Ah, shit. I just closed Edge, too. Hang on. Elementary it is. Elementary, my dear. Watson? See, there's GitHub. I'm somewhat acquainted with GitHub as of a while. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We have DJ Chateau in the DJ Chateau in the house. Very nice. Twitch. I just need to make sure that our closed captioner is going, because it is not currently. Because I have completely forgotten how to, well, not how to do that, but to do that. And while captions on YouTube, like and Twitch, when you use them, honestly, right now YouTube is not gonna have captions. I'm very sorry about that. I haven't quite figured out a way to do that yet, unless it auto does it. But usually those are not very good. On the Twitch side, I have the fortune that I can just quickly turn a little extension on, and it'll just do it for me. Still automatic based on Microsoft speech to text, but it's not fantastic either. In some respects, people say better than nothing. That's not always true. It can actually be really distracting to have really bad captions. So it's an experiment I'm running, honestly. If it's really bad and we're just not getting anything out of it, I may just not bother in the future. But I don't know. At the moment, I'm just going to do it in there, even if it's just for my benefit. and we'll figure it out in the meantime. Okay, I'm just logging into Twitch right now because, of course, you have like the whole thing with the multi-factor authentication because you got to be safe on the interwebs. Little nod to my usual hacking content. What is it? You have to say your 6-digit number out loud on Twitch. That's the best way to keep it safe. That is important to do. Okay, I'm logged into Twitch. I can now turn on the closed captioner. Closed captioner, Twitch, and then we can just open up VMware. I know there's nothing on the screen right now. This will be remedied shortly. I'm just doing super fancy personal detail things right now, and I don't really want to dox myself that badly. Like, it happens. My name is all over the internet. So in that sense, yes, but also if I don't have to make it worse, let's not make it worse. But yes, we're doing Elementary OS. Bunny in the chat is actually, I think you're one of the main maintainers or the main developer of that project. So we have royalty in the house today. This is going to be very helpful for if I get completely stuck. Let's see. Right, yeah, we're logged in, and I now just need to press the button there. It wants to use my microphone. That is completely fine. All right, beautiful. So that means my edge is gonna hang out in the background, but that's all right. We don't really care. We're fine. This is Elementary OS, Molid Van. Welcome in. Yes, we're gonna look at Elementary OS in a VMware machine today. I have the latest daily build as of today. I was actually gonna grab the one from yesterday, but I grabbed the one from today because I prepare these things 2 seconds in advance. And yeah, we're gonna just do that. I'm gonna put the screen on the screen. Little warning, OBS is currently showing, so if you were to look at the screen where the preview window is, you're going to see some pretty trippy visuals. Just maybe look away for a second while I'm in OBS, because some people can get really upset by that. Like nausea-wise and things. It can look a little mirror palace-y. Let me put this here. Super Smash Screen Capture. There you go. Yeah, that looks good. Boop. We're gonna find out, Molidvan. I don't know. I have no preparation whatsoever. All I know is that it's called Elementary, that they like to go with a single, like a non-capital letter for the E, and that there is an installer. That is currently all I am aware of. So that's the that's where we're going to start from. I'm gonna open VMware, and we're gonna see how it goes. I know that like recently a number of things were fixed. I also know that some of these fixes are not actually in the builds yet. So the experience we're about to have is likely already better in the actual proper software build stuffs. I don't really care about your new version right now. Get out. So we're just gonna make a new machine. We're gonna see if we can get it to talk, and otherwise we're gonna have to OCR and click a bunch. Let's see. Actually, why don't we send the screen reader audio over while I do this? It's not super interesting or anything, but let's just do that. Want me to slow it down a bit? Maybe that might not be a bad idea. There we go. Okay, new machine. Okay, next. I will install the operating system later. Radio button. Let's do this because I kind of want to go through like the initial everything. So I'm just gonna put the ISO as the CD drive contents and see how that goes. If that fails, we can always just do the other thing. But that's what I'm intending to do here. We're gonna hit next. This is Linux. I don't think Elementary is going to be there. What kernel is this running? 6.x, I'm assuming. So we're going to go with this. And we'll call it Elementary. I don't really care where you put it. It's fine. It's if you have the spoons, Molidvan, and you can miss like 5 minutes to report it, and that is something you're mentally able to do. absolutely just drop them a line. A lot of the time, it'll just end up in some archive system somewhere and never gonna actually hear anything about it. See also Settlers, see also Burp Suites, see also various other projects. But once in a blue moon, some of them will actually respond. Like this elementary OS thing is happened by complete accident. I was talking to some folks at a podcast and they sort of pointed me at it. And for example, CyberChef, which I have bitched about in the past in these streams, it has actually like done some stuff to fix stuff. I don't think that's in main yet, but there is like a random fork from I think one of the maintainers that has the fix in it, and it makes the entire thing a lot more doable. Let's make this a bit bigger. This is like very small for a thing. Let's make it like 40 gigs. 40 gigs. Yep. Next. The virtual machine will be created with the following settings. We'll be changing some of that. Let's see what we can change here, because we want enough RAM and everything. We need like 4 gigs of RAM from what I understand. Currently we only have 1 gig of RAM. That is a little not so much. So let's set that to, what would that be? 4196.
Property page maximum recommended memory. Memory swapping may occur beyond this size. 55 point. List memory summary 700.
Right.
Memory summary 4.1 GB
4.1 gigabytes. I'll take it. Oh, 4096 is it?
Maximum recommended memory. Memory swapping may occur beyond this size.
Where am I getting 4196 from? My math is off today, guys.
List memory summary 4.1 memory summary.
That's better. All right. So processor looks good. It has 2 of them. That should be plenty. CD-ROM. We'll change that to the actual ISO. There's 2 even.
Combo box auto detect collapsed. Use physical drive. Radio button check Alt plus P.
Right. Use physical drive. No. Use ISO file.
Use ISO image file. Combo box collect. Browse button Alt pressed. Browse for ISO image dialog. Speech mode off.
Yeah, very true. Hey, where's elementary? Oh, did I stick it in here? Huh. That's odd.
Speech mode talk.
Did download this. Please hold. let me devisualize this so I can actually quickly see where it went. Yeah, it's usually a good idea to report things. If you like, it can be a bit much. Honestly, the problem is that like sometimes you're just reporting so much that you're getting nothing else done. I've been trying to get English certified for like a while now, for like a week. And it's been, honestly, a week of me constantly trying and dogging them and doing all sorts of other things before they finally, I finally figured out a way through. And that's actually one reason why you might want an OS like this. I had to use a Mac to get past this because it just would not work on Windows. Yeah, it's one of those, they should and they don't always do so, but when they do, it can actually be super helpful.
Left click. Super visibility checkbox check controls the visibility of super smash screen capture. Left click. Visibility checkbox invoke ops 30 point block checkbox visibility checkbox not check control.
There. That screen will be right back. I need to find where I put the thing. I did download it. I'm just not sure where I put it. Just give me a moment here. Yeah, it's right there. Why is it not in show in folder? Where did I put it? Oh, okay. It's in the home folder. Gotcha. All right. Let me just quickly put that in place, and then I'll put the screen back. But yes, it's one of those interesting things where you're like, is this worth doing? And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Like, usually when I hear about a tool and I try it for the first time, I'll drop a few issues if I can. And then if I get no response, then, well, you too. But really, it's just one of those things that, yeah, developers do generally want to know, and it, particularly in open source where there's no managers and no like corpo bastards essentially saying, no, that costs too much money. you have a little bit of a higher chance of people actually caring about it. Not always by any stretch. Sometimes, honestly, accessibility can be overwhelming for a lot of people. It's one of those things that you're like want to fix, but you have no idea where to even start. Particularly if you did, unfortunately, start with a very bad design that just doesn't allow for it to be included easily. So it's one of those, you got to understand their position, but you also have to make sure yours is firm kind of deals. There. All right, we got it. Everything's working. Beautiful. Anything else we need to do in this window? I don't think so. EFI should be on. I'm assuming that's a default by now, isn't it, for stuff? USB controllers, their sound card is on. Auto detect looks good. Yeah, let's just try it. See how far we get. Finish. And we'll turn it on.
Elementary VMware Workstation dialog. You are running this virtual machine with side channel mitigation.
I don't care.
Elementary VMware Workstation pane.
It'd be just a test.
Recognize home. Elementary.
Elementary. We already see the name. That's something. We're seeing booting elementary OS something disk. Live disk, I guess. Leo disk. I can see that with the screen reader NVDA. I'm using OCR, which is a technique that snaps a picture of the screen as it currently is, and it tries to glean text from that. Normally, obviously, without Orca running, you wouldn't see that text as a blind person. But the power of VMware lets me cheat a little bit where that's concerned. Let's see. Augmenta. Well, that's, this is why we don't use OCR for important things if we can help it. It's somewhat error prone. All right, let's see. Warning, undefined reference to schema in something photos sharing. I'm assuming that's just a warning. We're safe to ignore that.
Undefined reference to less schema ID. Namers or make SSL cert. Make SSL cert. Elementary. Narning. Hostname.
Narning. I love it. Like, it's like the N, the W. So this is an interesting thing to mention. This is not really an accessibility established problem, but what we're seeing is that apparently the font that's being used gives OCR a little bit of trouble. Now, this is not generally a primary way that a user would interact with a machine. This is really just a rescue thing. But for some inexplicable reason, because it may be too small, or it may be too indistinct, or it may be too different from what like a regular letter would look like. I don't know what this looks like, but it looks like some of the letters don't quite render very well. It looks like W's, capital W's becomes like small N's. No, capital N, sorry. So that's an interesting thing right here. It does look like we're not really moving. Oh wait, no, we're still doing stuff. Password changed. Now this is a daily build, so I'm expecting some rough air, honestly. Are we ready? Okay, this is all pretty important information. Stuff we immediately need right now. This is just it still starting up and doing stuff. That may also be, yeah, the resolution on this would be... Yeah, I was also wondering, that's a little slow, but I may just not have given it enough resources, honestly. Resolution. Yeah, I couldn't say what this is using by default. This doesn't have VMware tools yet, so it may be going 1068 by 1024 768 by default. I don't really know. It's certainly getting there. It's just taking a minute. So yeah, I'm seeing Y's being turned into G's as well. So it's really interesting that the... yeah, it does look like it's a bit better. So yeah, system becomes custom, which the Y in systemd becomes a G. This is pretty common, honestly. Like, what we often see in OCR mistakes is a Y becomes a G, V becomes a U. L's and I's are usually confused. Like, it's usually like similar looking things that sort of just get mis-heuristicized, as it were. What else do we often see? Yeah, those are the main ones. Zeros become O's sometimes. It's really just that. Uh-oh. Okay, so we have a login screen.
Rec home. Elementary. Elementary. Elementary.
That's interesting. Why would that happen? Probably DJ Chateau. Yeah, I usually do it like this. Yeah, I think it's still trying. It's just really taking a minute. But yeah, I mean, worst case, we could just grab the previous build. Maybe this one's borked. But yeah, serial port, that is usually something that I would employ as like a very last resort. Look at that. We have a graphical shell. Hooray! That would have been fun. Like the first thing we see is the graphicals just falling on their butts. That did take a long time. I guess I just didn't give it enough stuff. Well, let's see how it's improved. This is a really good question, Molidvan, and this is something I'll go into real quick before we start. Open source, obviously, a lot of the time when you're using an open source product, they're using open source libraries, products, and things. And as a user, that puts some interesting burdens on you, because that sort of makes you need to figure out, okay, well, this is part of the thing I'm using. This is part of software X I'm using. So it's X's responsibility up to a point, but also X may not be able to fix it because X is just using dependency Y for this. So then they have to pass it up the chain to Y, or the user has to figure out magically that Y is apparently a thing. And that is another part of it. Like the fork, you can just take a state. You can just take a state of a particular thing and just make it your own. And at that point, it's its own thing. It does become your responsibility, but it also now becomes a lot more murky for users to figure out. Okay, who do I whine at for this? Because it's completely broken. I know it's this project. I don't know if it's this particular version of this particular project, but it is something that needs to be fixed. This was really common with code mirrors several years ago. Code Mirror 5, we've brought it up in a previous stream, where it just sort of anything that used Code Mirror 5 just wasn't very accessible because of Code Mirror 5. And then at that point, like if you go to a Codecademy or a free code camp and say, listen, your stuff's not accessible, really all they can do is maybe swap out the component or maybe update it and hope that fixes it. But if it doesn't, they're kind of hosed because it's not really their problem. They didn't think about accessibility and they sort of just grabbed the thing that was popular, thinking it'd be good for everyone, and then it isn't. But at this point, you've already made a whole bunch of different dependencies work with that particular thing you've picked. And now you have to put blueberries in a blueberry muffin after the muffin's already been made. It's doable, but it's very annoying and very finicky. So it becomes tricky. I need to get rid of that bot. Give me a minute here. Hello, this is Firebot. This is what tells me what you lots are saying. What's this dude's name? Nycoxy. Well, I'm going to ban you first. Yeah, it is kind of interesting how slow it's going. Yeah, I got it. Goodbye. Telebaking, yeah. No, that's really just a thing that I usually use as like an analog. Like you're trying to just add things that you should have added way earlier, and now it's just we have to work with ARIA and all sorts of other interesting things. I don't know why this isn't moving faster. I can... Oh, no, wait. I see the installer. I see the language picker, at least. So... Oh, look at that! Look at that! It tells you how to turn on a screen reader. That is a really good thing. I was not thinking it would do that. I didn't touch anything yet. So I was actually going to do this. That was Firebot, DJ Chateau. That's the bot I use to do all sorts of redeems, and it also tells me what people are saying in chat through an event trigger system. Not sure if was that TTS. Yeah, the TTS was audible. Otherwise, Molizon wouldn't have figured it out. But yeah, that is a really good start. I'm going to shut this down for a second because I want to see why this is so slow. It might be that side channel mitigation thing that does slow things down. So I'm going to give it a couple more CPUs and turn that off and see if that helps. But this is a really good start. I was going to suggest what a lot of people do these days. I think macOS does this. I'm pretty sure Windows does it. If you just sit on the installer screen for a minute and you're just not doing anything, at some point it's going to think, why is this user not touching anything? Maybe we should tell them that you can turn the screen reader on. And that is very good that this does that. I'm honestly pleasantly surprised by this. So this is a very good start. You got the elementaries right. Good job. Let me just turn this off for a second though and see if we can make this, because I think if we install it with this running with this speed, what I'm worried about is that it's just gonna write super slow. Super slow, and I don't want that to just, take the entire string to just install the OS. That'd be kind of boring. So also super secret, internal context. I have been told that some of the particular bugs.
Elementary VMware workstation pane.
Yes, it is. It is Dutch for seagoat, and I would know that because I happen to be Dutch. So I was kind of amused by that. It's a sea buck or a sea goat, yeah. But yeah, let's have a look at the sets here. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this a bit more power. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so it's using 4 gigs. I have RAM to spare, so how about we just double that to 8 gigs? We're just gonna give it some more resources here. There we go. CPU. I never know how this works. Like if you have say like 16 cores in your processor, do you want like more virtual cores like this one? Or do you want more processors? I'm guessing you want more cores per processor and you only want one processor, but it's just, I have no idea. I've never understood how to properly set this up. Is anyone like really good at this and knows how this works? Oh, now we only have one. Like I can raise this and I can raise this, but I really don't know exactly what that does. So if we double this, okay, you can't do that. Okay.
Property page total processor cores. 0 powering on the virtual machine will fail because the number of cores is invalid. Processors grouping. Number of cores per processor. Combo box. Number 4. Number of cores per processor. Combo box collapsed. 0. 1. 2. Number of processors. List.
Okay, let's set it like this. I don't think if this is gonna actually do anything, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna see what it does. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. This has like one thing for CPUs and one thing for cores per CPU. Yeah, so you want like one processor and then a number of different cores is, I'm guessing, what they want here. This doesn't seem to do much. So let's set this to 1 and this to like I have no idea. I really don't know. Like I wouldn't know why you would want more than one physical processor. Yeah, okay, but then what does the number of processors do? Like it makes no sense to me to have more than one CPU in a regular computer. That doesn't happen that I'm aware of. Unless you can like set one of them to be like an APU or like an NPU or something. Okay. Okay, so what is number of cores then?
2. List.
Okay.
Summary. A2 of 8. List. Processors. Summary. A2 of 8. Processors. Summary. A2 of... Property page. Total process number of cores.
Right. Well, we're just going to leave at 2, 4 and see what the... Because also when you look at the summary... When you look at the summary, it also says now that we have 8 numbers. Right. Well, we're going to see how we do. Let me see. This looks good. Let's go to the options here. Yeah, that's fine. Power. Yep. Actually do that. Yeah, sure. Let's make it full screen.
Report battery information to check power controls grouping combo box shutdown desk collapse combo box startup test.
I know this is not really what we're going to be doing, but it's actually kind of interesting. I never really look into these very often.
Cancel help button, tab control options. List power to shared folders summary.
Shared folders, I don't really care. Snapshots, not important right now. Auto protect is off. That's fine. Guest isolation. I don't need dragon. Nah, we'll leave it in there.
Tab control. List. Access control summary not encrypted 7 of 13.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Access control summary not encrypted 7 of 13.
Access control not encrypted. VMware.
Ask AI GLaDOS a question. TTS. Saying, do you have any blind test subjects?
Mullet Van
You know it's not very
do you have any
2024 if
blind
you don't.
test subjects? You know it's not very 2024. If you don't, I do not have any blind test subjects. However, I could recommend some alternative testing methods to ensure your experiments are up to date with the latest technology.
Property page to change the default setting. Go to edit greater preferences greater can't help tab.
Oh, GLaDOS.
VMware tools. VNC connections summary disabled. Unity 10 of 13. Appliance view 11 of 13. Autologen summary not advanced summary default /default 13 of.
All right. I think it's in here. The input.
Combo box default collapse. Settings grouping. Gather debugging information. Combo box default. Disable memory page trimming checkbox not checked. Log virtual machine progress periodic. Enable template mode to be used for cloning check. Disable side channel mitigations for Hyper-V. Checked. Firmware type grouping changing firmware might cause the install. File locations grouping log. Editor OK button. Cancel help button.
All right, so what I'm understanding from this discussion about processors is that we want one processor with X amount of cores.
Options tab. Hardware tab. Select hardware tab.
Am I understanding that correctly? Because that, again, for this particular case.
Property page.
Yeah,
Memory summary.
that's what I think as well. So let's set that up like that, just so we do that. Set this to 1, and I'll set this to 8, because we have like a number of them. Yeah, that sounds right to me as well. I'm just confused. I think it was showing like 1. Yeah, I put 8. We'll see how this does. Microsoft OneDrive needs to go right off. I don't want to. Why does that keep coming up? Is my thing in OneDrive? Is that why this is so slow? Shouldn't be. Well, let's see how this does. Let's see how we do now. Maybe this might be better. See if it's more zippy. But yeah, this gives me some time to just ramble. It's always, Teams is a great one too. Teams will always just pop up. You quit it and it just pops right back up. Yeah, Microsoft mining crypto because they need more money after the whole recall debacle. Ha 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 ha. I don't even know what I was apparently deleting. All right, what does the documentation say? While we wait. Is it faster? I can't really tell. Like, I don't see all that boot stuff that we saw before. Oh, believe. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess for open source stuff, it's a little bit less important. Okay, yeah, well, we're seeing this output we saw before, but it doesn't seem to be that much faster to me. Interesting. I guess we'll just go with it and see if it's faster when it's actually installed. Yeah, maybe the virtual CD-ROM drive is artificially slowing things down. Could be, Bunny. We'll have to see. I don't really know. Can you emulate just a bootable USB disk yet? Yeah. No, I get that.
Edit, view, tabs, force of DNS setup and run. Force override. Pane.
That is what I'm wondering, but it shouldn't though. Oh my god. Oh. Is it doing what I think it's doing? Did it put... Yeah, I did that. That's what we're doing right now. What nature sounds? Oh, yeah. So about that, basically what I did, I was listening to some of my old streams back, and I could tell it was a little, like, the noise gate was a little aggressive. It would sometimes cut off, like, parts of my words, and it was annoying me, so I've completely turned off the gate currently. You'll still get the room echo removal from NVIDIA Broadcast, but the noise gate's gone. So yeah, you're gonna hear birdies and me typing a bunch more. I still need to sort of dial in how much of that I want in the stream, because I don't actually mind it being there up to a point. I think I know what's going on. I think because my virtual machine generally tends to go to documents, what it may have done okay, maybe not. I thought maybe just stuck it all in there. Or is it here? Virtual machines? Yeah, virtual machines. There's your slowdown right there. Why is this a thing? For audio description, the elementary machine is not in Documents VMs, it's in OneDrive Documents VM. Because of some weird thing where it decides that oh my god. Okay. I'm going to turn this off now. That is terrible. Why is that a thing? Okay, hang on. We are going to not do it on the cloud because we have better things to do in our lives. Just a moment here. No, and I'm pretty sure I turned this off. It might be a VMware, like, perfect storm of something VMware is doing and something Microsoft is doing, honestly. Shut down the guest. Yep. I'm going to just copy this to another place on my machine. I'm just going to make a folder for it real quick. And I'm just going to put it there. Because this is a little stupid. And see, that's why, see? Now as I close it, we get the OneDrive warning again. So yeah, it's definitely trying to run this from a OneDrive folder, and I'm guessing that's going to do all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm just going to make a new folder here. Elementary. Elementary is hard to type, evidently. All right. Let's close this out. Yeah, fuck right off. Seriously.
Deleted files are removed everywhere. Files you delete from your OneDrive are no longer available across your devices or on the web. Yeah. You can store them from your OneDrive recycle bin within the next 30 days. Learn more.
That's the point.
Effects off. Learn more link. Recently deleted. M09388.lck. M don't show is checked. Got it button. Elementary VMware works.
I know, right? I will take it out of there entirely.
Items view list. Virtual machines check 64 1. Items view list.
I don't use it either, Molidvan. It just sort of decided that that's what it was going to be using. It's just sort of there. Comes with your Microsoft account, and it just decides to put your stuff there. Elementary.
See users for elementary. Items view list.
Paste.
Elementary check 1 to 1.
That's better. Now let's reopen. Let's open a different elementary from the elementary. So many elementaries. Yeah, that's not good. Let's see if it's better now we're doing this the right way.
Items view list. Elementary.vmx2 of 2. Pane. Property page. Elementary author. Version. State. Elementary VMware workstation dialog. Distress pane.
I copied it. Now let's see what this does.
Edit. View. Element including elementary.
It's still working. That's one thing. It's still doing what it's meant to be doing. And it should be a whole lot more zippy now.
Rec element elementary. Pane.
Well, you know, we figured it out. We did it. It will probably become IG, honestly. Like some of these things, like IKR and CU later and things, I've just sort of, I mean, I didn't grow up in a vacuum, so I do get these all the time. IG is not one I would immediately recognize as I guess. I don't think I've seen it very often. But yeah, we'll have to see if it's faster now. Audio seems to have just popped on. I heard a pop. Yeah, so the window's open. It's pretty nice out. There's not too much like happening in the form of heat here yet. I'm really sorry for people on the East Coast. It's still not all that fast, is it? Or am I just critical?
Edit view tab element undefined reference to.
I'm sorry. It's... Yeah, I wonder what... It could honestly be a VM thing. Like, it could very well be a VM thing. I think so. It's a little bit faster. Yeah. We'll just install. That usually makes this better. Yeah. Oh.
Firefox V5. VMware Workstation 1 of property page elementary author version state power off snapshot configuration.
Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
Hostname make SSL.
There's the narning. Yeah, go for it, because I'm curious if that's a daily thing or if it's literally a VM thing or a me thing or a... I have no idea. I have no clue. It could honestly also just be that we're using a virtual CD drive. I don't know what that adds to the latency. I have honestly seen Kali being very slow on VM as well, so it may very well be something with my settings. I have no clue. Anyway, what we're gonna get once the thing is, we're gonna think, is the live system something you can just play in, or do you have to install first? So we can just sort of look around a little bit first and then install, just to save time and get some decent feedback in here. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, yeah, we'll probably do that then. Let's just talk about. So while this loads, basically I can give a bit of a history with Linux. Basically, Linux was this thing that people didn't really think about until... So the hardcore, like, super geeks, I want to say, were already using Linux in the 90s and the early zeros with SpeakUp and Emacs Speak. Emacs Speak is like a TTS system that makes Emacs even more difficult to use than it already is, and requires even more virtuose piano skills than the average Emacs editor does. Sorry for that Emacs dig. But that is essentially like a system that reads Emacs, and it reads various modes of Emacs, and it lets you pretty much do a number of things. Even today, it's still being maintained. Some things work better than others. And then SpeakUp is a terminal screen reader, which works in terminal but not in the GUI. Orca, I think, came on my radar when I was like 15. Like 2009, 2010 or so. This thing called Linux came out. Yeah, it really is meant. It's really meant to be. They call it the audio desktop that should tell you a lot. Like a lot of a lot of the things that Emacs does and that Emacs can do have been sort of speechified, so you can do them from within Emacs. You never really have to use the OS itself that much. And then Linux came on the scene in 2008, I think, which was this GNOME-based, I think it was Ubuntu 10, no, even older, Ubuntu 8.04 or Ubuntu 8.10 based blind-specific Linux distribution. And I played with that, and it worked okay. I actually used it as a daily driver for a while because I had a Vista laptop, and I don't think I need to explain that. I had a Vista laptop. So fast forward a couple years, that project sort of fell over. And then a couple I've tried over the years. There was Sonar for a while. And I believe Slint, based on Slackware, is still a thing. But Ubuntu is sort of just where people hang out now because it is generally considered to be like the most mainstream and stuff. The tricky bit there was that, you know, the different versions, different distributions, different desktop environments and things made it difficult for a user to just sort of start and pick it up, because Orca would work very inconsistently with some Java applications. Sometimes needed like very specific environment variables to be set. Sometimes the GTK ATSPI wasn't working properly. Qt would fall over randomly. Sometimes you have to check a box that enables assistive technology before most of Orca works, because of course you want that off by default. You have projects like Pale Moon Browser, which basically says like we removed accessibility because it'd be faster. I gave it 8 gigs. So there's just a lot of inconsistency, I would say. And that's why when I saw Elementary, I wanted to try it because I'm super curious. Oh dear. So Wayland is an interesting topic too. Wayland sort of works with screen readers now, right? Like it kind of sort of works in a... I am doing whatever VMware chose to do, honestly. I don't know if the Hyper-V is on. Yeah, I don't even know where to find that out, DJ Chateau. Yeah, Wayland is fun. So, like, the big issue back in 2010, 2012 was fun. Pulse Audio versus ALSA became a whole thing because Pulse Audio and, like, getting multiple different audio things working for one user was a whole entire thing. And it sounds like Wayland is like that times 1,000, where like sometimes the screen reader will just not see anything. I hope we're almost there with that in that thing. I don't know why it's so slow. Like, I've seen things being slow, but not this bad. So I don't know. This is a desktop, so it's not like a power saving feature thing either. I honestly couldn't tell you why it's doing this.
Elementary. Pain.
Can we look at that while it's running? I don't know if we can change it, but can we look at it?
Virtual machine settings dialog. Property page maximum.
Let's see.
Tab, hardware tab. Options tab. Select. Property page suspended. Power 2 of 13. Shared folders. Summary. Disable 3 of 13.
Yep.
Speech mode off.
Where am I looking? You did it. Good job. Not encrypt. It's not encryption. We don't have VMware tools yet, but that makes sense. Unity in here. Show borders. No, that's all for graphical stuff. Does help that like nothing is findable in VMware. Like appliance view. No, that's not it. Auto login. Advanced. Anything in here that's weird? I mean, we're waiting for this to do anything anyway, so I might as well look at this now. No, I don't see it either. Unless it's like in the... So curious, is the virtualization stuff on in here? It should be, but it may not be. That would explain a few things. Yeah, Calamaris is a great example of how things not to do. Like if you go look at issue... If you look at Calamari's issue 470, that's where that whole thing started. Basically, what's happening is someone says it doesn't work, and people go back and forth and wait for things and try things for literally 9 years. And it's still not in a good state. Like I think, like Molidvan says, some people got it to work somehow. I think there's like one distro, I forget which one now, that makes it work. Virtualization-based security should be good. Yeah, and here, virtualization-based security required is, yeah, it looks good. All this looks fine. I don't know why it's so slow.
Speech Windows Defender device encryption hypervisor has been detected. Features required for Hyper-V will not be displayed. 4440.
Yeah, hypervisor has been detected. Okay.
Search category name. Preview list 1 list.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Machine settings dialog. The default settings are specified. Elementary.
Like it's still not done.
Input. Press Control plus Alt. Help balloon. Edit. View. Tab. Element. Direct input to this virtual machine. Press Control plus G. Elementary. Pane.
Yeah, I'm actually super curious about where Orca is going to go. I don't know why this is so slow. Like we had an installer before, and now it doesn't look like we're even getting that. Like I'm wondering, is it literally like you tried this in VMware as well, right, Bunny? Is that it's not that? Like it does work on VMware. I can try VirtualBox, but I'd be very surprised if that worked any better. Oh. I have no idea what GNOME Boxes is, but we have an installer on the screen. I think that's fixed, actually. Like, you can have them both at the same time now, because Hyper-V is also needed for WSL2. We did get a prompt for the screen reader, so let's see if we can actually get that to run. Windows Alt-S.
Screen reader on. Install elementary OS 8 early access frame. List with 197 items. English.
Okay, so the first thing we see is the installer.
Chinese. English.
Okay.
Chinese, Spanish.
This is interesting. The first thing I'm noticing is that when I'm tabbing through this list, I'm not leaving the list. What I would expect to happen here is that I would tab to the forward button. So if I'm tabbing, I would expect to leave the list, go to the button that verifies things. If I tab, if I use the arrow keys, I should navigate the list. If I start tabbing, that should not be happening. Okay. So we can skip the list with Control Tab. That is good to know. That's also reminiscent of some Java things I've seen. That's not something a user is going to be aware of, though. Control Tab generally changes tabs. So while this is good that you can do that, I thought you would need to have some kind of instruction that indicates that, or make it not do that. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Like I said in Telegram, like I have spoken with Bunny a little bit on Telegram before we started this, and I'm fully expecting strange Linux things to happen, and this will be one of them. I'm gonna hit select.
With a list with 197 items. English. Languages push button. List with 4 items.
See, this is what I would this does what I would expect it to do. If I tab, it leaves the list. But we're not in a list. So amusingly, Orca does not read these labels. I'm going to have to, from context, determine what this says, or cheat and look what OCR is doing. This says... Okay, so essentially I'm selecting, I guess, a sub-language for English. So we'll pick... Yeah, that's fine. So that's already on the right place, so we can just press select. And I'm guessing languages here takes us back where we just came from. A better label for that would probably be just back. Or back to language selection. Just calling it languages little ambiguous here, just because we're already looking at languages. This could be anything.
List with 99 items. English, US. Esperanto. English, US.
Yeah, okay, so I'm assuming what we're picking now is our keyboard layout.
Text. Type to test your layout.
Yep. It is, and I don't actually know the hotkeys for that either on laptop mode. It's probably like Orca and then JKL, UIO, and M, comma, and period, or something like that. But yes, object navigation is considered advanced on Windows. I don't think it should be, but unfortunately it is, and it makes so many people not be aware just how many more things they can do than they think they can do. But yeah, let's pick our keyboard layout. So far, this looks fine, honestly. Like, this is certainly not the worst thing I've ever seen. Like I said, I'm still very happy about the fact that Orca announces itself like this. That's not a thing I've seen any Linux OS do before, so that's very good.
English, US.
Perfect. Fantastic. See, this is why we do these. This is why we do these things. This is like just... I can give some help here, and I will. Okay, this is... I guess this is... We picked a language for the keyboard. Now we're picking a keyboard... keyboard thing here. This is a little bit like... I could see this maybe being a little bit choice paralysis-y for some people. Like, it's not terrible. This is what you usually see. The way Windows would make this easier is it would essentially say, okay, you want English? Here's a couple of keyboard layouts that most people use, and then here's a button if you want others, which can feel a little patronizing to some people, but this may also be a little bit much for some, so... What?
English workman, Intel with English workman, English US, Intel with that keys.
Let's just pick this one.
English US symbolic.
And again, this is a Linux thing. Like, Linux has all these weird alt GR with dat keys layouts.
English US alt Intel.
And at that point, it's one of those, do we change that or not? Okay, I just tried if you can press return on like a list item. That is something you can do. Very nice.
Will not be saved, and data from your previous OS will be unchanged. Performance and features may not reflect the installed experience. Selected radio button.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is a radio button that gives us a description of what it's labeled, of what it is, but not a label. I'm assuming that is also already fixed, but I'm pointing it out for like completeness here.
Changes will not be saved. Let's erase everything and install a fresh copy of elementary OS 8 early access. Selected radio button. Create, resize, or otherwise manage partitions manual.
So it looks like what we have is a demo version.
Left control.
Coffee. Thank you. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm hope it was helpful. Like, we'll be keeping up for a little bit, and we'll see how things keep going.
Erase everything. Changes will not be
Oh, I have a typo in that little command.
will be unchanged. Performance and features may not reflect the installed experience. Selected radio button.
Okay, so we said we would play with this first, so let's see if we can do that. Well, this is why we're doing this. Let's try demo mode. It does help. We'll do that maybe when we start looking at installers, but let's just play with the OS first.
Screen reader on. Set up elementary OS frame. Next push button.
Oh, that's cool. It switched eSpeak to American.
Link.
Blink bling.
To link. To link. To link. Tab. Default blueberry checkbox checked. Night light colon. Checkbox not checked.
Okay, I'll see a couple of unlabeled links here. Icons, most likely.
Adjust schedule and temperature. Link. Downloaded files checkbox not checked. Told temporary file screenshot files checkbox not checked.
Okay. I'm going to look quickly with OCR what we're actually looking at here. Okay, so this is basically our desktop. And it's a housekeeping thing. Old files can be automatically deleted after 30 days to save spaces and help protect your privacy. Automatically delete, and then all these things that we were just looking at. I was wondering why we got checkboxes for that. But yeah, it doesn't really indicate why those are there and what that's for. So that is certainly something to look at. Like, I'm not sure if this is a modal I can just dismiss with escape, or if this is going to just hang out here for a while. You can sort of tab in between various things. Connect online accounts looks promising. We can look at that in a little bit. That's a button. All right. Flat it.
Free and purchase apps being tried for free will not update automatically. Checkbox checked. Operating system will be installed when you choose to restart this device. Checkbox not checked.
Very interesting.
Open system settings. Link.
Because yeah, what I'm noticing right now is that I'm not sure when one thing ends and another begins. So that is definitely something to look into right now. I am a little... I'm not sure if this is the desktop we're looking at or some app. I'm actually not sure what we're looking at currently. So I'm just going to keep exploring and see if it starts making sense. Okay, we have a button here that says welcome. I'm not sure what that button would do. Okay, yeah, this does look like some kind of welcome app. And I'm assuming these buttons turn either the things off and on, or you go there when you press it. I just pressed the online button. Get some apps. Automatic updates. Okay, so seems like we've come full circle. So what do we know about this particular app? So what we're seeing is buttons have labels, but sometimes without context, they don't really tell you what the buttons are for. Like if I see something like get started, I'm not sure what I'm getting started with. If I see welcome, I don't know what I'm being welcomed to. So one thing we're noticing here is that buttons are maybe overloaded for a couple different things. Maybe these are more like tabs in a tab control, because I think you're meant to only be seeing like one at a time, or maybe you can sort of scroll to one of them in like the carousel. The thing is, the screen reader can only see one thing at a time. So when you press that button and nothing seems to happen, at that point, it's essentially a bit of a dead tap stop. Like you can't, as a screen reader user, you can't see what just happened when you press the button. Now, for keyboard-only users, that's a different story. They might need these buttons to get around quickly. It just looks like when I press these buttons, focus doesn't actually get moved. So I'm kind of in the dark about what they're meant to be doing here. Like, is that going to make one particular pane larger? What does that button actually do? Like if I press here the get started button, what does that actually do? Or the ready to go button. I don't know what these are meant to be triggering, as it were. Then easy, low-hanging fruit here is these links. These are, I think, icons for certain things. Currently, they don't read. They don't have labels at all. So that tells me it's either an icon or maybe a color code or some other thing that is not textual. And usually you can like add like an accessible name to that manually when this happens. So that is an easy one to fix. Generally should be at least. So default is our current look, I'm guessing. We're going to leave that alone. That's fine. Can we alt tab out of this? No, this is the only thing that's currently open. Okay, can we get an app list?
Skip all push button.
Oh,
Blueberry checkbox check. Skip all push button.
so I didn't see this button at first. I just accidentally found it by pressing down arrow, and there's a skip all button. I'm gonna press that.
Welcome.
Because I think what most of what this app does is it just takes you to parts of the OS, and I think I'd rather just explore that myself.
Blueberry checkbox. Skip all push button.
So I'm gonna press this button.
Welcome. Push button.
So I've just skipped everything. What happened?
Early access build push button. Choose your look but night light push button.
Nothing appears to have happened. We're still in the same app. Okay.
Type out on gets automatic updates push button. Threat gets telling.
So how would we... Yeah. So if we were to want to leave this application, like what hotkey
Search text.
would do that? Okay. Okay, yeah, I just pressed super key and it also brings up this search thing.
SK setup element.
Let's do alt space, try that.
Space. Telling.
No, that doesn't seem to do much. Control space?
Left control.
Super space?
Space.
No. Okay, so what if I just go in here?
Search text. App center push button.
Okay, if you just press down arrows after pressing Windows, very akin to Windows actually. If you press the super key, you go down, you enter this menu.
Document newer push button. New multi-dash page document.
Yeah, that's what I'm just noticing.
Push
Yeah,
button. Document newer push button.
so we got a document
Multi-dash page
viewer,
documents. Mail push button.
we got a mail client,
Multitasking
and this is a
push
grid, so you need to know you can also go left and right. Let's see.
Multitasking new push button. New all open windows and workspaces.
So we have multitasking view. I'm not really sure what that would really do. Right. So I think if I'm pressing skip all, I would like the navigation to just go away. At that point, I've decided I do not want to interact with this app. Get rid of it, because I've decided to skip everything. Why do I still need to be in this window at this point? That would be more akin to what a skip button in different OSs would do. A skip generally means get out. Yeah. Yeah, so what we're seeing here, tab order, button labels for some things, links. And yeah, the titles and descriptions for the panes are a little off right now. I'm not sure why Orca isn't reading those. Could be an Orca setting, honestly. Could be that you've put the descriptions and titles on elements that don't take those properties. I know that's very easy to do on the web, so I'm not sure how easy it would be in GTK, but that's something to look into. But yeah, one really easy way to test this kind of stuff is to literally just fire up Orca and start tabbing with your eyes closed and see if it makes any sense what you're hearing. If it doesn't make any sense what you're hearing, it probably isn't going to make sense to your users as well. Oh, you need to hook them up. Okay, yeah, you need to associate them. Yeah, all right, well, you have your notes open, I hear, so note away. So yeah, basically, the app list works pretty well. It looks like it's an app grid, more like, so you can use left and right, up and down for this. Let's see. Yeah, let's not go play with gparted right now. I know that that works pretty well. We can install it. We'll do that in a minute. Just for funsies, let's go to the web. Let's see how the browser does.
Visited link. Left tab. Setup elementary OS. Visited link. Link.
But is this whole entire thing just a browser tab? Can I?
Tab default checkbox checked. Left link.
It might, yeah.
Left tab. Tab. Setup elementary OS. Link. Left tab. Frame. Tab. T. Tab.
Yeah, it looks like I need to figure out why that's happening. Obviously not going to be doing that on stream. I mean, it could be a fun tech support stream, I guess. It's not what we're doing today. So how about instead we go look at the installer for now, because everything is so slow. That may probably also take a minute, but at least we'll be waiting for something. You did say it was kind of rough, and we can look at some of the things that might be interesting to comment on. These, though, like what we just saw, like missing labels, missing descriptions, not quite the tab order you would expect. These are really easy to test for, and these are also really common accessibility issues. So like I said, if you want to catch these, literally just turn your screen off or make sure you can't see the screen in any other way, and then just literally do what I just did. Tab through it. Through any application, really, like any of your files reader or your document reader. Just sort of use the keyboard and confine yourself initially to tab, shift tab, your arrow keys, space, and enter and escape. Those are the keys that a keyboard-only user would generally use. Like, they don't know your special hotkeys yet. So that's what a non-screen reader empowered, as it were, a keyboard user is going to need to work. If that doesn't work, you've hit the lowest common denominator. If you fix it there, you fix it for keyboard users, you've also fixed it for screen reader users up to a point. If you fix something for screen reader users, it doesn't always mean you've also fixed it for keyboard users. Those things are sometimes not the same thing. So yeah, this is one of those things where you can just go through and check, see how it goes. Let us continue. And okay, we need to press this. Uh-oh. Super. There we go. Okay, so I need to find that. Let's see if we can get the installer to happen at least. Once that's running, I think that once it's installed, ironically, it does work better. Actually, I'm curious about something. I'm going to suspend this for the moment. I have an idea. I have a hunch. I'm gonna suspend this for a minute, and then we're gonna see if I make the if I make a virtual machine, not with the CD like we did before, but just like setting the installation disk right away. I'm wondering if it's gonna bypass the virtual ISO. And maybe that'll make it go a little faster. I don't know if it will. It might. It may very well not. But I'm curious. If it doesn't, we'll just switch back to where we were. We have to suspend it so we can just get back to it without having to restart it all the way.
Next grader cancel. Next grader rest unavailable. Dialog install from I will install the operating system later. Installer disk I will install the help button. Dialog install from I will install the operating system later. Radio installer disk image file ISO combo box collapsed. Edit selected C users Flory Elementarios 8.0 daily.20.
That's the one. Yes.
Left back button next rest unavailable. Dialog guest operating system grouping Linux radio version help button. Left back button next grader pressed unavailable. Dialog virtual machine name edit alt plus V selected other Linux selection.
Elementary 2 in capitals, because why not? No, we'll not do that. That's not nice. Elementary 2.
Location, edit alt plus L selected C, users Flory OneDrive documents.
Yeah, here, I can see it. It's right here. It says it. It's going to do it right there. So we're going to remove the OneDrive bit preemptively. Yeah, there is fine. Doesn't really matter.
Browse button next grade rest unavailable. Property page the virtual machine's hard disk is stored as 1 or more file plan 0.8. Split help button left back next grade rest unavailable. Dialog the virtual machine.
I'm wondering if that is the big equalizer.
Customize hardware button alt plus rest.
Wouldn't that be funny? Also slow because I did an oopsie and I didn't wrong. Okay, what did we give it? 8192 for RAM. The default seems to be 2 processors, but it's 2 processors with 1 core. Okay, I'm going to just leave it at 2 processors then and set it to 4 cores instead. if it lets me type. There we go. So that should now say 8. Yes, it does. All right, so let's go. Let's see what this does. I'm actually really curious. And start. Yeah, whatever. Oh, was there? In the CPU thing? Okay. Well, let's first see what this does for a minute, and then this is going to be faster. Let's find out. Yeah, was it checked or unchecked? It may be on or off. Unchecked. All right, so it doesn't look like this was the cause. I'm going to shut this down, check into that checkbox theory that DJ Chateau has. Shut this down. Yep. Okay, we're going to look at the settings, and that would be here. You'd think that by default it would just sort of turn that on. It'd be in this tab here. Okay, yeah, that's off. Let's turn that on. I don't think we need that. I don't know if we need that. Alright, let's try this again. Elementary 2 VMware Workstation dialog res Elementary 2 VMware Workstation dialog virtualized Intel VTX/F does not. Virtual VTX is not supported on this platform. Continue without. Oh well, there you go. That was pointless. So much for that idea, I guess. Well. Elementary 2 VMware Workstation unavailable. Elementary 2 VMware Workstation unavailable. Library type SZ my complete elementary I let it view VM elementary power on this virtual machine. Edit virtual machine settings. Edit for VMware workstation. Elementary 2 VMware workstation. Elementary 2 recognize library type SZ elementary I let it view VM elementary 2 power on this virtual machine. Edit virtual machines. Elementary. No. Elementary devices. Memory. No, this is a desktop machine. Elementary 2 VMware workstation with an i9 and an NVIDIA 4090. So it is an Intel processor. It should just work unless it's off in the BIOS or something. Yeah, a little bit. All right, well, that didn't seem to have done much, so I guess I'm going back to this for now. See, is this the right one? Yeah, so I'll turn this back on. Close that. Restart that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. It's very odd. It should not be doing it, but it is. And I couldn't tell you why that is. So in that sense, that makes it a little difficult to check what's going on. We could do a quick Google, I suppose, to see why it's giving us that error. Untitled Google Chrome. Google document. Search landmark. Zoom combo box. BMW clickable resultant clickable videos heading level 2 Zoc resultant and clickable near OMT region VMware workstation 16 virtualized Intel VTX/F does not heading link Reddit link heading Of course we go to Reddit because that's where all the internet questions are answered now. And Reddit says clickable button comment clickable there seems to be an undercurrent of frustration among users of Ware workstation/player using Intel CPUs of the older late and newer generations 12th Gen Plus seems to be directly attributed to the presence of the efficiency cores in the processor. Don't really have any suggestions other than what's been suggested in the Ware communities already as well as previous Reddit posts.
Button expanded previous actions.
That's not helpful because I'm not looking at those, but okay.
Able to edit the work. I did the steps from this guide as I did previously. Link https://communities.where/virtualization/on/ttp/2. I also changed the Where workstation build to 16.1.2 build 17,906 previous actions pop.
Okay, well, I'm in 17 point something, so I don't even know if this is relevant. Okay, this is not going to help us further, and I don't really want to do tech. I don't want to make this into a thing.
Blueberry checkbox.
So, yeah.
Frame. Tab.
Yeah, I guess this is the installer trying to boot up. It's not really getting there yet, but let's see. So I do see the description. So for example, the look says choose your look, make it your own by choosing a visual style and accent color. Apps may overwrite these with their own look. So it's there visually, and I can see it with OCR, but Orca is not picking up on it for reasons not entirely cute. But I don't really see if all of these that we were looking at.
Next.
Yeah, and there's like a skip all and there's a next button. I don't think I saw the next button when I was just tabbing. Let's try that again. Let's go back right past these carousel buttons here. That's an early access build button. A welcome button. And oh, there they are. So here's skip all, and then here is system settings.
Operating system will be installed when you choose to restart this device. Checkbox not checked.
Okay, sure.
Checked.
Yeah, this all seems to work just fine.
Free and purchase apps being tried for free will not update automatically. Checkbox checked. Sideload apps from alternative get apps made for elementary or return. Accessories. Left App Center browse and manage apps with open source. App Center. Home panel. Accessories.
Okay, it looks like we can look at this at least. This turns on pretty zippily. So let's look at this application, the App Center. So this is a toggle button. The settings button is an interesting choice of role there. What happens if we do press it? Does it open a new window or does it open a menu? Let's find out.
Toggle button pressed. Check for updates. Toggle button pressed. Check for updates. Push button. Toggle button pressed.
Okay, we now have the toggle button is now seemingly pressed, but I think it lost its. Is that the same one?
Space. Not pressed. Check left toggle button not pressed.
No. So
Space. Pressed.
this is a really interesting flow of events here. So we went from a open settings toggle button, we pressed it, and it took us to another toggle button that doesn't have a label on it. So we are now in the Twilight Zone because it looks like we're on the same button with its label removed, but it's actually a completely different button. Or it might be the same button that doesn't get its label back when you untoggle it for some reason. At this point, this is where you would want to make sure that both we have labels on the button, but at times it also needs to be clear that you're changing context. You're no longer in the same window or in the same context, as it were. I don't really know how that would be done in something like GTK. I'm going to assume that iAccessible has some kind of way to indicate you've navigated somewhere, or you may have to like change the window title to indicate that and then echo that.
Check for update left toggle button pressed. SK settings toggle button not pressed.
Yeah, so, okay. So escape closes it.
Toggle button pressed.
Okay, yeah, so what it does is it takes you to a new context without telling you that it's done that. Just sort of assumes. I think you can give these kinds of flyouts a title of some kind. You might want to look into that, because if it indicates like settings menu or something, then this isn't as ambiguous as it is now. Let's not look at the settings. Just let's leave those for last. Let's see.
Settings toggle button home panel. Audio. Left accessories.
Okay, so these are categories, I would say.
Communication.
What I'm noticing is they don't have a role, so I don't know if this is a link, a button, a checkbox, a radio button option. I don't really know what is going to happen when I press these buttons. Can I use the arrow keys?
Communication. Audio.
Yes, this appears to be a grid of some kind.
Development. Education.
Very sort of tiley phone home screen like it looks to me. Oh no, you can just you can use up you can use left and right to go all the way through these, and then up and down to go in several tiles at a time kind of situation. All right, so can I control tab away from this? Yes. Okay, so that's the way to get past the grid, past the home panel, as it were. See, that's the fun thing. So again, this is not something that you guys can do anything about. This is an interesting Orca/GNOME issue. If I control tab out of this, I'm on the search button. If I then shift tab, I land on the list item that I was on. That makes perfect sense because, you know, this is a list. You would want that to happen. But now if I tab again, expecting to go back to the search button, I actually start moving in the list, which is, again, that's not your fault. That's a weird Linux GUI thing. But it's one of those things that if you come from a different OS, nothing else does this, apart from some pretty badly coded web UIs. So I'm pointing it out because someone is going to point it out and indicate that you need to fix it. I don't know if you can. So that is something to be aware of. We have a search button here. We also have a bit of an issue in the sense that my headset is clamoring for power. Do I have a cable? That might be a good idea. Yeah, that might work. I don't know to what degree, if and what that would look like. That is not the right kind of cable, but I can make that work. There. We have saved the stream. It's fine. You don't have to do anything. It's literally just so I can charge it. Connect it to the host and leave me alone. Yeah, I know. Bye. Let's see. Okay, now we're back here. So we have these categories, a settings button and a search button that we can navigate through. So let's pick a category. I hope it won't take too long to load. Let's do education. I'm curious. So we press education. We're now dropped at a home button. We are now in the education panel. Has it loaded the apps in yet? Doesn't look like, or there isn't any, but that wouldn't be very strange. How's the installer doing in the meantime? Is that loaded yet? No. This is so strange. I am so sorry for this.
Number 10:34 p.m.
What else can I show off here with the little bit of OS that we have? We can try to search. Let's see what the search does. If we press search. Okay. So I hit the down arrow on the search button because it says it opens a pop-up, which I'm assuming is an autocomplete. Let's type, I don't know.
Education push search panel. Entry search education. Opens pop-up. Backspace.
Okay, so I can type here. What I find interesting is Orca indicates there is a pop-up it can be opened, which I said, like I said, assuming is like a search suggestions box. But it doesn't actually indicate this is an edit field. Oh, it might. That's a good question. Maybe it just doesn't. It just shows you this. No, I think what it means with pop-up is autocomplete. Like if you start typing, let's say I type math and I go down with a down arrow, it says scroll pane. Normally I think you would see like results here. And I think that's what Orca means by pop-up. I have no idea. So that might be one of the roles, like maybe it's like a drop-down edit field or a complex edit field that's not just an input. That might give Orca the idea that something might be happening there. So this is actually a great example of another thing you can sort of just test as you go. Like if it doesn't make sense, something is probably off. And in Linux land, that is not necessarily always the case. It can just mean that it's just having you on because it's just how it is. Like that control tab switch panels thing. It makes sense if you realize that, you know, the list is all an entire panel. I'm pretty sure you have like actual lists you can only manipulate with the arrow keys, but I am not a Linux developer. I don't know what that would be called in the GTK spec or in the ATSPI spec. So that might be something to look into if there's like more suitable roles for things that should not be tabbed through, but should instead be used with the arrow keys. Again, that's not me. I'm not going to be the person to be able to tell you what to use there instead. Let's see, we've been going for about, 1.5 hours. I mean, we can do a little bit more product sort of troubleshooting, see if we can figure out where this terrible slowdown is coming from. Very slow on Intel Gen 14. And yes, I put it in all caps because I'm annoyed by this. This is an interesting one. Unless run as admin. Huh. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of people seem to have a bit of an interesting situation with this. And I'm sure there's like 15 different ways I could try to solve it. I don't really want to do that in this stream, but I'll definitely do it off screen. See why this is so slow. It feels like that checkbox that DJ Chateau found might be a clue. Like I think that should be on, but it can't. Maybe it's a BIOS thing, in which case I'm gonna have to get sighted help because that is one of the few parts of the thing where I will need a screen, and I don't currently have one connected because why would I? Generally, though, yeah, it's so a tab would either do nothing. Yeah, you would think that if it's a BIOS thing, it wouldn't work at all, though. Like that's what my experience has been up to now, where if you have your VTX disabled, it just isn't gonna let you run a VM whatsoever. And it is letting me do it, it's just really slow about it, and I'm not sure why. It's such an odd thing. And like I said, once it's installed, it's a lot better, which also is odd. Like I'll try, I'm pretty sure I hit enter on the installer. I'll try that again. Yeah, but like I've never actually seen that work. Like if I were like have a laptop that's has like VTX off in the BIOS, and you would turn on, like you would do VMware Player or VMware Workstation and run a thing, it would just say, listen, we can't because so and so is off in the BIOS, and it's not doing that this time. It's literally just doing what it can, apparently falling back to that software virtualization, which makes sense. Maybe it's like a very recent workstation thing that it can just sort of work around that problem. I have no idea. It might also be the interplay between Hyper-V and VMware. But also, if you looked at that MSSys Info 32 thing, it says that it's not even going to render Hyper-V stuff because it sees another hypervisor. So it's aware that VMware is a thing. It just can't use the full resources, almost, it looks like.
tab.
Let's try and hit the installer again.
Get sideload apps from alternative app stores like Flatham. Get apps made for elementary OS.
I'm not sure what message you mean there, but
Text, apps and screenshot. Photos push button. Music push button. Multitasking. New mail push button. Document newer push button. New multi-dash page document.
oh, okay.
Feedback push button. Files departed. Install element web push. Install elementary return. Set up elementary OS. Get apps made for elementary OS and reviewed by elementary on App Center push button.
I also don't see, like, usually you would see a setting that literally is listed, I think, like Intel VTX enabled in BIOS, yes or no. And I don't think I see that whole entire setting anywhere. It's kind of interesting too. Like maybe that's only a laptop thing though, I don't know. But I did not see that particular setting that I normally see for this kind of thing. Yeah, I think this empty frame currently is what the installer should be, but it's just... Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, well, let's see what we can play with in this particular welcome screen then. At least get some some of your money's worth here. We've looked at that. What does this do? All right, we are on the online accounts panel. It doesn't look like we are immediately focused on something actionable. So let's start tabbing around. Okay, this is an add account button. Again, interesting that it uses a toggle button here. I'm assuming that means that when I press the enter key here, it's going to open a list of types of accounts I can add. That looks good. This looks like a wizardy thing. We haven't done anything, so I'm actually kind of curious what the back button would do here. Let's try. Oh, look. So this is an interesting thing. So I thought because we had a back button, we were in some kind of wizard context. Turns out we were actually in a settings pane, which is part of the settings window. What I'm noticing with Orca, and again, I am not sure if this is something you can even influence, but Orca seems to have a hard time with indicating that we're now in a different application. It doesn't really tell you you're now in the settings application or you're now in the setup thing. Sometimes it does. If you alt-tab deliberately, it will. So here's the setup elementary OS, and if we alt-tab again, it says... Well, now it says all settings. Okay, let's close this out. And press this again. Like, it tells you you're on the online accounts thing, but it doesn't tell you what that's part of. So if I were to now alt-tab out and back in... So what I would normally expect to happen here is that because online accounts is part of settings, that it would tell me, you know, settings, online accounts, or online accounts, settings. Be a little odd, but I guess that could work too. What it's doing instead is it's just going to give you the title of this particular pane, which is online accounts. And then it doesn't really tell you what you're part of. Did I just lose everyone?
Speech mode talk.
Oh, no, everything's fine. Okay. That cable I'm using is just a little iffy, it looks like. But yeah, so that's what I'm noticing. It's having a little bit of trouble with that. And that could very well just be an Orca thing, honestly. Yeah, this just refuses to come up. So, okay, let's just look around here. We have this button. Add account. Let's press that. So we can add the calendar account. Yeah, IMAP email. Oh, is that it? Okay, these are just like, this is your email stuff. So this is pretty well labeled. Just for fun, let's add an email account. Okay.
Cancel push button. Text. Live session user selected. Opens pop-up.
Okay, so what we're noticing here is that this is an edit field that's not labeled. It just has text. Nope, doesn't look like they are.
Text. Opens pop-up. Text. Opens pop-up. Text. Opens pop-up. Cancel push button.
So yeah, user that's not familiar with Orca's navigation scheme, which honestly is most of them, they'll have no idea what to do here. And I'm sort of glad that I found this, because this is the kind of thing you'll get a little bit of flack from. Like, this is not... Like, people will sort of be a little annoyed by this, because at this point, these are pretty easy to catch. Generally, if you like run through it with a screen reader, you'll immediately see that these aren't labeled. So people sort of feel like, okay, you're saying you're accessible, but then I open this and like within 5 minutes I find these unlabeled TF fields. It's generally not a great impression. Like I said, I don't necessarily mind. Like, I can see that effort was definitely performed here. I can see you've done a lot of research into like your components and things, and I'm super glad about that. And I'm super happy that I got to you before others did. But yeah, this is really easy to fix, but also really easy to catch. So this technically shouldn't have I shouldn't have seen this. That's just what I'm saying. Let's cancel out of this. See what else we can look at here while we're in this particular situation. Let's go back through some more of the settings. We'll hit the back button.
All settings panel. Manage default apps, startup apps, and app permissions applications. All settings.
Okay.
Configure the dock, hot corners, manage default apps, with applications.
Let's look at this.
List with 11 items. Defaults, applications. Startup. GPU acceleration.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I'm I'm wondering, is there like some kind of commit hook you could set up that does this? Like, can you run a linter through the code for your views and then sort of have it tell you, hey, this doesn't have a label?
Devices. Network.
I know for the web, there's like automated checkers that do that. I'm not sure how greppable or testable GTK code is in that sense, but that might be something to look into as well. Just have a script that just looks for empty labels or for empty labels that aren't associated for anything, and just grab your entire code base. Exactly, yeah. At least get like a good list of where all the problems are, and you can just sort of fix them as you go. Let's see.
GPU acceleration.
I mean, again, I don't know I don't know how you would write GTK views. I honestly don't. So I don't know if you could write like a quick grep that just sees, okay, if you have this line, does it also have this part? And if not, flag it, put it in a file for perusal, and you can just check it after. I don't know how hard that would be. Like, I don't know if it's always in the same order or anything of that sort.
GPU acceleration.
Interesting.
Network. GPU acceleration.
Yeah, so I guess this is just network, but it's also reading the description. That is super interesting. So yeah, that could be a thing to play with. Like if you have a compiler open or an accessibility insights tree, you could sort of look at, okay, the accessible name is X, description is Y. Can we deterministically say that Y always overwrites X when it's present? And if so, can we prevent that from happening? Maybe there's another way to have X and Y both connected to the same node. I don't know how that works in GTK again. Not a Linux developer. So I'm talking from a theoretical point of view. This is also a problem on the web. On the web, you have an ARIA label, which is like a screen reader specific accessible name override. And you have just your regular old accessible name calculation based on the text of a control, if that's present, which gets overridden if you use an ARIA label. So what I see very often, what I see happen is someone will put a say, call us ARIA label on a link that has a phone number. So right now you have a very smooth thing that says call us, but you can't see the phone number anymore. Yeah. So I guess what we'd have to determine is what happens to label when description is present. Does label just not get read? That would be a very odd thing, but maybe that's how it works. And that would be a thing to bring up with GTK, because I think there's a lot of cases where you want to have both. What NVDA does on Windows side is it'll read the label, then the role, then the description. So you'd get something like defaults button, reset everything to the defaults. That could be. Yeah, it might be a heuristic thing as well. Yeah, if nothing is set, it needs to say something, which more than often than not, it's going to say nothing. It's going to say button or element or list item or something. But if it can figure out something, it's going to try. JAWS and VoiceOver are very famous for this. NVDA is a bit more stingy with that. So what if we press one of these? Okay, so browse the web is the label and it opens a pop-up. I just pressed it.
List with a title. Browse the web selected label. Return. 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 List with 8 items. Printing manage printers and see the print queue. Not selected. Network connect printing manage printers and see return.
It also doesn't seem like Orca is aware that pressing these does anything. Like if you press one of these settings, if something is changing like somewhere else on the screen, like I said, a screen reader can only see one thing at a time. So as long as we don't get a poke from further in the accessibility tree that something has happened, Orca isn't going to be aware that something has happened. If nothing is happening, that's a different story. But right now... Oh, this is a checkbox. Okay, interesting.
List with 11 items. Printing. Browse the web selected label.
See, I think with these things that we found so far, you guys will be busy for a minute. So I think what I'm going to do is we're about 2 hours through. I think I'm going to call it here. I think I'm going to find out why my VM is so slow. Hello, hackers, crackers, and techers. My name is I see null. I do fully blind, non-vision, all the stuff. So I'm my eyes, you know, these ones, those ones right here, yeah, they don't work. So I'm just using a screen reader to do everything right now. I'm doing all sorts of things. Right now we're looking at Elementary OS, which is a ethical, capable, and thoughtful Windows or Mac OS replacement. And we're looking at it from an accessibility point of view. So there's a lot of screen reader stuff going on. I was actually just about to go. So you guys, fantastic that you're here. I'm being spammed with emotes currently, so I can't really see what's happening in chat. It'll catch up. But yeah, that's what I do. We do a lot of try hack me stuff. We do a lot of hack the box. We do coding with the screen reader. We do screen reader add-on development. We do... we have various things we're going to be looking at in the near future. Jupyter Notebooks is on the list. NPM is on the list. I want to look at things like Notion, Obsidian, and other note-taking apps of that nature. And today we're doing this Elementary, which, yeah, has been super fun so far. So if that's interesting to you guys, definitely stick around. And if not, well, I hope you had fun with B7H30. And, yeah. B7, what were you streaming, B7? What were you trying to do? What you get to do? Hello, hello. I'm now catching up on chat. Yeah, I rated you last week, man, but you literally left as I went out. You're super welcome, Zabok. I'm super happy that it was helpful. Well, I'm glad I was able to help. Okay, Theo is what you go by. Very well. Oh, right. B7H30. B Theo. Okay. Fancy. But yeah, yeah, you just missed me last week. I saw you follow Diek right after. I definitely appreciate that. So yeah, let's put some fun stuff on here. I'm gonna blank the screen here while I look for someone to raid actually myself. Oh, that's fine. I'm glad that you like it. It's definitely something that a lot of people seem to sort of underestimate the importance of. And usually I get the bad consequences of that. I game as well on a channel called Xerxiax. That's in the panels if you want to check that out. We'll be doing Diablo 4 there tomorrow and probably more WoW on Saturday. So that's something that's coming up as well. And then next Tuesday, I think I want to do notebooks next Tuesday. We'll have to see. It's going to be either notebooks or maybe some more Try Hack Me and people can finish off some of the pathways we're doing. But yeah, we'll see. For the moment, I'm going to switch to OBS, so this may look a little trippy. Bear with me here. And okay, it's gone. So I'm gonna just really quickly find some hapless person that we can go bug. And that sounds fantastic. If people want to see this again, definitely drop me a follow, either on the YouTube or the Twitch. It's all super helpful, super appreciated. And yeah, this was super fun to do. To the Elementary OS folks, I hope this was super helpful. You already said it was kinda, but I'm super happy that it was. And I'll definitely be happy to look at this again once you've fixed some of the stuff that we found here. I'm gonna fix my VM somehow, some way. I don't know what's going on with it, but we'll figure it out. And yeah, once we start doing more VM stuff, obviously we're gonna need to have that fixed anyway, so that'd be a good incentive for me to actually go look at it. I'm super glad. All right, let's have a look at my list here. I'm looking at my Edge. My Edge is my main browser, unfortunately. Absolutely, no problem whatsoever. Okay, I see, amusingly... Oh, I know who he can raid. I know who he can raid. I know exactly who we're going to raid. I know exactly who we are going to raid. We are going to raid the person that was in here just now but left us to go do their own stream. We're going to raid DJ Chateau, because I saw he just went live. Or they just went live, I'm not sure. For the Twitchers, you'll be rated alongside with me. For the YouTubers, you will not, and that's completely okay. So yeah, we're sending 10 people off to DJ Chateau Land. He's gonna be they're probably gonna be very stoked with all the people. Definitely give him a fantastic 60
seconds remaining.
You know, I see null what is it? Welcome. You know, send the riffraff their way. It's definitely important that the riffraff also reaches these fantastical people. Like I said, tomorrow Diablo 4 with Matt Campos, Saturday. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that super much. Zaybok has followed. Thank you. Yeah, so Diablo 4 tomorrow. That's not going to be on YouTube. The gaming things are generally only on Twitch. So if you want to catch that, definitely go check that out. Next thing on YouTube as well will be here next week on Tuesday. Again on 3 p.m. Eastern. That will be, like I said, probably notebooks. Like the VS Code ones, the Jupyter ones, and the Colab ones. I want to sort of put those together and show which ones have problems and which ones are better. You guys will have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again in the next one. Goodbye.
Raid forwarded to DJ_Chateau.
Speech mode talk. Speech mode off. Speech mode. Volume properties for mute. Volume proper. Settings. Configure. Start recording. Start virtual camera check.